getting back to how are the deputies who found these remains?
Well, from what I understand, they're fine. They're trained to do these kinds of investigations.
Yeah, but you come up with this? This is almost beyond the imagination.
The human element is another matter. So I would imagine this investigation is going to affect each one differently, and it's something that we will be watching to make sure that if issues develop with the deputies, that we address them. We are very big on mental health in our agency for our deputies, and in any investigation where we're dealing with a lot of trauma that the deputies are expected to investigate, we always make sure we take the necessary measures to protect our people.
Well, now, so your deputies first found the head and the hands, and then about a mile away in a dumpster near a church, they found other remains. Is that right?
That's correct. They found, from what I understand, they found the torso.
And did the man who's accused of this, did they point to the deputies in the direction, or was
he told them where the remains could be located.
Mm-hmm.
I have to ask this because we're talking about remains. Are we sure there's only one individual as a victim?
Well, we have everything at the Office of the Medical Examiner right now. If you want to believe the person that we've charged, we have what we believe to be the total of the victim, the total body of the victim, or most of the body of the victim. We've been working with, and I want to take time at this point to say that I'm very proud of the deputies in my agency, because this was a very difficult investigation and very frustrating at times.
And what was frustrating about it?
Dealing with the information that was being given to them in the beginning, and it being conflicting information, and trying to do an investigation when you have certain things you can do and you can't do, either because the law will allow you or not allow you, or court decisions will allow you or not allow you to deal with Fourth Amendment issues.
And this was information you were getting, conflicting information from family members.
Yes.
Initially, and you said that the father of the accused initially reported the victim being missing, and then you were getting conflicting information. You heard from the brother and so on. Are there any other family
conflicting information, and that throws up a red flag? When somebody reports something to you to begin with, and then they report something differently later on, that tells us something that maybe the average person wouldn't pick up on. So now, when you've got a situation where you have conflicting stories, where do you go from here?
Right.
Particularly when you still don't have, when you haven't located the person that we're looking for.
Sure. The person you're listening to here on AM 970 WAMD, the Hartford Edge, is Sheriff Jesse Bane. We're talking about the gruesome murder and cannibalism that has taken place here this past week in Joppatown, Maryland. That's actually made the national news on the heels of the Miami cannibalistic attack on a homeless man in Miami. So
yeah, and that situation involved drugs, bath salts or PCP. Do you have any indication that the accused was on drugs, was a drug user?
We don't have any indication that was the case.
Do you have any sense of why you think this bizarre and gruesome thing happened? Did he strike you as a mentally ill person?
You know, I wasn't really involved in the investigation itself, and I can only relate to other cases in this country involving incidents of cannibalism, and say that there are probably a lot of similarities.
Really? How so?
I want to say at this point that I also need to thank the FBI, because when we got into the details of this investigation, we consulted with agents out of the Baltimore office of the FBI, and also an agent who was assigned to the behavioral analysis unit of the FBI out of Quantico, Virginia. And as a result of that, and knowing what you're dealing with when you're dealing with an individual who is being charged with cannibalism, you always want to make sure that you don't have multiple victims.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that that's the case here, but we're certainly going to follow this investigation to the very end to make sure that we have nothing more here than a homicide of one individual. So The investigation is still ongoing.
I guess you look at missing persons reports in the area to see.
Well, we'll look at missing persons reports in the area. We'll check the. We'll go through our databases, the national databases for missing persons. We'll send out information to other law enforcement agencies that if you have missing persons, or you recovered somebody where a body where there may be
a body part, maybe.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Sure. I understand.
Oh my. Now, you talked about some conflicting information from family members, and you said that's an ongoing investigation. Is it possible that other charges may be filed?
There's a possibility before this investigation is concluded that more charges may be filed.
In this particular
In this investigation,
crime.
yes.
Yeah.
Against other people?
There's a possibility. I'm not casting any dispersions at this point in time.
I understand.
But
just
when
keep
you
all
get,
options open.
Well, when you get conflicting statements, there's a concern.
Sure.
And,
the radar goes up.
again, we want to make sure we leave no stone unturned here. And if there's more than one party involved in this, or if there's more that this individual is responsible for, we're certainly going to make sure that we put everything together, because this is a person we want to make sure we keep in jail for a long, long time.
Now, Sheriff, you have been in law enforcement for how long?
40 years.
Have you ever seen anything like this in your career? And have you been in Harford County your entire career?
Yes. I've seen nothing like this in Harford County, and I hope I don't see anything like this again.
Right.
But I would point out that really Harford County is a microcosm of America. I'm surprised and shocked that we have that here like everybody else. I mean, this is a real... When you look at the fact that Harford County is such a safe county because we have the 5th lowest crime rate in the state of Maryland, and our crime rate is half of what it was in 1975 when the FBI started keeping their data. When you have such a quiet community and with a low crime rate, and to have something like this occur, it's just going to slap you in the face as, oh my God, how could this possibly happen?
Sure.
Well, I think anywhere it happens. I mean, whether it was Miami or New
Des
Jersey,
Moines,
people
Des Moines, Iowa.
anywhere,
Right.
it's absolutely shocking.
Sure.
But you've been a guest of this radio station before, and you have often sounded the alarm on some issues that we deal with here. Sometimes we think we're in a cocoon, and we're not. This certainly throws it in our face that we're not. But we were, before all of this happened, wanted to talk to you a little bit about this, the drug of bath salts and some of the other drugs that have led to this bizarre behavior. We don't know that that's the case here in this case, but we have things like that, just like other areas do, and now we've got something just truly horrific. So what's next in this process?
In the investigation, I'm sure there'll be more interviews with the accused. He's in the Harford County Detention Center on no bond. I don't anticipate that will change, so he will probably remain there until trial.
Is he in a segregated unit, away from other inmates?
I would say at this point in time we've taken all precautions to make sure that he doesn't get harmed or that he doesn't harm anyone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when something like this happens in the detention center setting, what is generally the attitude of the other inmates towards someone who's done something, is accused of doing something so horrific?
Well, I don't think like an inmate, but I certainly would not want to be sharing a cell with this man.
Right.
And although this guy probably right now is harmless in the detention center environment, I don't think you're going to convince inmates that it's okay for this guy to sit at the table with you and eat lunch and
No, it's like Silence of the Lambs. I mean,
I also think
you
just the opposite. I would think that you would have to, as a correctional officer, have to worry about the safety of the new inmate.
Sure.
From the other inmates.
Sure.
I don't think cannibalism goes down real well in the jail.
They got their rules there.
They do, absolutely.
Yeah,
they really do. I mean, like child molesters and rapists, they're way down. They do hard time.
Oh, and the corrections officers too. I mean, is there concern for their safety as well?
Oh, sure. I would say that as soon as a person is admitted into our detention center, there's an individual who does an interview for classification purposes, and that determines where an individual goes in the detention center and what measures we have to put in place to deal with that individual while they're...
Well, there has to be a special box for this.
I would think so.
this
I would
kind
hope
of
so.
situation. Oh my goodness. Well, we want to thank you very much for joining us today and
Absolutely.
for talking about this. I know it's not exactly breakfast talk, but here we
news
are.
in the
It's
news.
been foisted upon us, and want to thank you very much for sharing your time with us and sharing
Thank you.
information.
Thank you,
And
and be
good
safe.
luck in your investigation.
Absolutely.